Good day everyone, I'm Hurley Borafy Reviews here, back at it again with my review for the KZZ-A12. But before I proceed, I'd like to thank Keep Hi-Fi for sending this unit to me in an exchange for a very honest and transparent review. Rest assured that all of my reviews are honest and transparent to the core like I always do, for the benefit of everybody of course, including me, since again and again, I won't be editing this extensively. I prefer writing reviews than recording them, and at the same time, English isn't really my native language, so my apologies for future grammatical errors here and there. Okay. And yes, first things first, if you're hearing a raining noise in the background, my apologies on that one as well, because currently it is raining here in our country, so yeah, and this is scheduled to be recorded today, so there's that. Okay, well, enough of that. It's been a while since I have reviewed KZIEMs actually. I can't even remember what's the last KZIEM that I have reviewed apparently, but most likely I have reviewed a KZIEM earlier this year, most likely. I just can't remember what IEM it is, because let's be real, most KZIEMs share the same design and the same sound as well. It really depends if it's a good way or a bad way. It really depends on your preference, but oh well. Yes, what do I have here is the KZZ-A12. From what I remember, the KZZ-A12 isn't really a new-ish IEM from KZ. This has been released for quite some time now, probably in early January if I remember correctly. But yep, I maybe am too late to the party, but I am still grateful that Keep Hi-Fi sent this IEM to me. Okay, so what they sent me here is the non-switch version, I believe. Yeah, this one is a non-switch version, as you can see here. Yep, it is a non-switch version, which I am very grateful, since it takes a lot of time, in my opinion, to evaluate or to observe an IEM that has a multiple configurations, multiple dials, multiple nozzles here and there. So it is very refreshing and very convenient for me, in my humble opinion, to review an IEM as it is, without any switches or anything like that. So yeah, props to Keep Hi-Fi for sending this specific variant to me. I am really grateful. Okay, so we'll now go to the box. As you can see, the box on this one is your usual KZ box. It doesn't have anything spectacular to see here, aside from the picture of the IEM and the KZ name on this one, as you can see. And yes, KZZ-A12 is apparently a hybrid IEM. This consists of 4 BA and 2 dynamic drivers per side. So it is a hybrid IEM. Okay. And as you can see here, the parameters, it is still your usual KZ. It is still your usual KZ QDC pin, and at the same time, it is 45 hertz, 45 ohms. Sorry, dang. So it is a bit higher than your usual impedance, with a 103 decibels in sensitivity. So despite all of these stuff, I find the KZZ-A12 to be easy to drive actually. The power isn't the question here, or isn't the concern here. It is more of what you will pair with the KZZ-A12, which I will tackle later on. Okay, so as for the accessories, this isn't really new. It is your usual bog standard KZ accessories. There isn't a lot here. It is quite bare bones, and do take note, this is priced around $60 or under $70 by the time that I record this video. So for this asking price, it is quite underwhelming for an IEM that costs this much, and it doesn't even have any what do you call this, it doesn't even have any pouch or a case for it to begin with, or even a better cable to begin with. But yep, if you're not new to KZ, this is quite anticipated. It really depends if you prefer this kind of treatment or this kind of accessories for this price. Okay, okay. So again, here's the ear tips. As you can see, they included a pair of foam tips on this one with their usual Starlines, KZ Starline ear tips. The Starline ear tips improved a lot based on my experience, because I experienced those types of Starlines that are very stiff and that are quite hard in terms of their material composition. That was like 2017, 2016-ish era of KZ. And down the line, I am really glad that they improved their materials, the materials they used with the Starline ear tips. But yeah, it is now softer, which I really like, but at the same time it kind of does not pair well, in my opinion, with the Z812, which I will also later tackle on. Okay, and here is the cable itself, your bog standard usual KZ cable. What do you call this? It gets the job done. It doesn't have really any flaws or something, but it is very basic for this price. The KZIM, like for example the KZ EDC Pro, which costs around 10 or under 10 US dollars, also have this cable, mind you. So yeah, it is very underwhelming for KZ to use a cable for a $65 or 60-ish dollar IEM on this one. Okay, and here is the IEM itself. As for the design is okay. The design is quite on the I would call it in the premium side of design, but it is highly subjective. But for most people, this design isn't really new. It is more of a mishmash design of KZ IEMs, like for example a KZ Symphony. As far as I remember, the KZ AS24 also has this design. So this design isn't really new, but at the same time, it isn't really that bad either when it comes to, like, let's say, originality or the execution of the design, as you can see. Yep, as you can see. Okay. Now, as for the fit, comfort, and isolation, I had no problems fitting the KZZ812 to my ears. To my ears, it is on the normal side when it comes to thickness, but at the same time, for those people with smaller ears, or for those people with average size ears, you may find the KZZ812 a bit on the chunky side of things when it comes to width or when it comes to thickness. But as for the size, like the size vertically, I had no problems fitting the KCC812 to my ears. I can still like feel some slight gap, so it isn't really that big when compared like to, let's say, Heidi Smart 12 Tourist, for example, or Kiwi Ears 8er, for example. So yeah, it is still on your average side when it comes to the size, but at the same time it is on the chunky side of things. Okay, okay. Now, as for the pairing, this is the part where I recommend for you to what do you call this, for you to experiment, or for you to mix and match your preferred configuration with the KCC 812, because in my opinion uh the ear tips included with the KCC 812 isn't really pairing well, in my opinion. It tends to accentuate the upper frequencies a little bit. It makes the sound a little bit smaller in soundstage as well, in my opinion. And it makes the upper frequencies a little bit thinner to my liking. Do take note that I prefer usually neutral to brightish sounding sets. But yeah, I kinda find that the ear tips on the KZC812, the included star lines on this one, does not fit well in terms of the sound signature or sound character of the C812. So my recommendation in this one is probably use a Final E ear tips, or probably a Dunu SNS ear tips. KB ear, yes, KB ear '07 ear tips. Do not use Clarion ear tips on this one, or the Tri Clarion ear tips on this one. As much as possible, do use some usual normal bore ear tips on this one, like for example the KB ear '07, Final E, or what I have here is the Rose Celsa Sound Cocoon liquid silicone ear tips. Yeah, I find that this pairs well with the Z812 based on my experience. So there's that. Okay? Okay. Now, as for the sound signature, yes, the sound signature of the Z812, in my opinion, it is official. The Z812 is the most neutral, yes. It is the most neutral sounding IEM out of all of the KZs that I have reviewed or experienced. The last KZ-IEM that I remember that I find really neutral was the KZ-ZSX. Yes, although it isn't like true neutral or uncolored neutral per se, it is the closest neutral sounding IEM that I have heard from a KZ IEM, along with the KZ ED16. Probably you can also add the AS16 Pro on this one if you're talking like closest to neutral, but not true neutral. No KZ IEMs, based on my experience, achieved that really neutral-ish type of sound. And the closest, as far as based on my experience currently, is the Z812. On the surface, the KZ-Z812 standard, yes, this is the standard configuration. As you can see, it doesn't have the switches on this one. The KZ-Z812 standard edition, to my ear, sounds neutral. Yes, it is neutral, that leans on the brighter sound of the Spectrum. It is unapologetically bright, and at the same time, it is quite refined in terms of brightness when compared to the previous bright sets of KZ, to be specific, that I have encountered, reviewed, and owned in some point in time. So, in my opinion, if we're talking KZ to KZ conversation on this one, the KZ-Z812 is probably one of the best if we're talking neutral to bright sound-ish signatures. But let me be clear, the Z812 is no perfect IEM in terms of the sound, which I will tackle later on. Okay, now as for the bass on this one is really far from being a bass head's dream. The bass on this one merely exists. Yes, it does exist when compared to the Tangent 4 use monitoring mode. When compared to that, the Z812 the Z812's bass is much more existing in the overall sound, but at the same time, I wouldn't call it elevated or what do you call this, bassy or a bass head level either. It does exist. It sure exists whenever the track calls for it, but at the same time, those people who prefer bassy, warm sound signatures will find it a little bit lacking and a little bit thin. But for those people like me who prefer, excuse me, for those people who prefer what do you call this, who prefer a neutral-ish type of bass presentation like me, you will find that the bass on the KZ-Z812 is a bit on the quicker side of things. It is there, it is clean, it is very firm, it is very clean. It leans more, the mid bass on the sub bass on this one is nearly on the equal levels. It is a bit on the punchy side as well. So that's the gist of the bass here with the Z812. It isn't really it isn't a bass head's dream. So if you really prefer KZ-IEMs and you want something bassy, go look somewhere else. Go look for another KZ product that fits the configuration. But this time, the Z812 does not have it. Okay. Now, as for the mids on this one, I can actually call it sterile. It is still colored, but at the same time, it isn't really that colored, in my humble opinion. It is very vivid. It doesn't have any warmth to it. I can't find any warmth. Probably there is a tinge if I compare it to a more flat set, like for example the Atemotic ER2 SE and ER3 SE that I have here. But at the same time, I don't find it warm at all. I find it nearly uncolored. I wouldn't call it like abnormally thin, but yeah, for most people who listen to IEMs on a casual basis, the mids on the Z812 might come across as thin. So yes, there is no added warmth, there is no added thickness, and there is no added quantity on the lower mids on this one. So you'll get it as, I'd say, natural as possible, I guess. But at the same time, again, it is thin. As for the upper mids is definitely more forward than the lower mids. The clarity, sparkle, and air on this one is quite decent actually for its price. Nearly the same as what I would see, or hear rather, on the SIMGOT EA500 series. The EA500 LM, the EA500. Yeah, but mostly even on the EW200 if you may. But the EW200 is a bit thicker when it on the overall sound when compared to the ZA12. But yeah, let's get back to the ZA12. And yes, this is also the part where the quirks of the BA driver of the ZA12 really shows. Yes, the ZA12 has a BA timbre. Yes, it is very noticeable actually. It is very noticeable because for one, they tuned the ZA12 to be a neutral bright sounding set, but at the same time the driver has some quirks to it, which also adds a little bit of that shimmer or a little bit of that potential sibilance, potential harshness peaks. So yeah, those people who are very sensitive to extra slash boosted upper frequencies will find the Z812 quite fatiguing after an hour or two. So yeah, I will not recommend this for those people that are sensitive to those kinds of frequencies. But for those people who prefer neutral-ish sets or neutral bright-ish sounding sets, like for example, you prefer the sound of the Rose Techniques QT9 Mark III, or probably the HD Sound Heart Mirror without any modifications, you may find the KZZ 812 on that ballpark as well when it comes to the presence of the upper frequencies. Okay, now as for the treble, again, just like the upper mids, the treble in this one is very present. It is actually forward and it is well extended. It does have the air, it does have everything that you'll find or everything that you'll expect from a bright sounding set. And at the same time, it also has that BA timbre or that BA quirk that I have explained earlier. Okay, which in return, it also accentuates the micro details or the detail retrieval on this set. You may find that the details on this set is quite excellent for its asking price. But if you've heard the SIMGOT EA500LM, for example, or the EW200, but yeah, I prefer the EA500LM for the comparison on this one. It is within the same ballpark for its asking price. Okay. Now, as for the technical chops on this one, it is a bit, I'd call it above average in my opinion. It isn't as good when compared to the EA500LM, but it is nearly there. Actually, I find it excellent at first because I haven't compared it yet at first to the EA500LM until a friend of mine loaned me for a day the EA500LM to be compared here with the ZA12, and I find the EA500LM a bit more technical or a bit more incisive for the price. But again, the ZA12 isn't really that far. Okay, the sound stage on this one, it is still your wider than deep with a good amount of height. The separation on layering on this one, is this also good? It is very clean actually. It is very incisive. It is well layered, well put. I had no problems with it actually. The imaging on this one is as precise as it can be. I had no problems with this one as well. Okay, so where should we compare this? Again, I've already compared it with the EA500LM. If we're talking value for money, let me put this straight up front. The EA500LM is definitely the way to go because again, it has better accessories, better cable, probably better build quality, but they are nearly the same actually, except for the 2-pin connectors. I prefer the 2-pin connectors on the EA500LM. And at the same time, the EA500LM is a bit easier to drive when compared to the ZA12. And also, it doesn't have any like some driver quirks here and there because probably of its configuration as well. But at the same time, if we're talking about the accentuated treble, the accentuated detail retrieval, or the accentuated imaging, yes, the ZA12 is a bit better on that regard when compared to the EA500LM. So where should we compare this? The EA500 from SIMGOT, the original EA500 from SIMGOT with the black nozzle filter is nearly the same actually when compared to the ZA12. It's just that the ZA12 exhibits a BA timbre. Yes, it exhibits that driver quirk that the EA500 does not have. But in return, the ZA12 is actually better on detail retrieval. Okay? Okay, so where should we compare this next? I'll compare this next with the Fail Tulip. When compared to the Fail Tulip, the Fail Tulip is more colored actually. It is a bit more colored but not by a lot when compared to the ZA12. But at the same time, it is also a little bit recessed in the mids. It is also a little bit warm in the mids because of its usual U-shaped sound signature. What quality do they share the same? Well, they share the same level of cleanliness or neatness of the overall sound. I find the Fail Tulip a little bit clean actually for a U-shaped set. It isn't your usual thick sloppy IM. Sure, it can be aggressive at times on the upper frequencies, but it isn't really fatiguing or anything like that when compared to the ZA12. Okay, so where should we compare this next? We can compare this next with the Truth Ear Exa. Well, technically the Truth Ear Exa is a little bit better on the technical chops aside from the what do you call this? Yes, aside from the soundstage on the Truth Ear Hexa is a little bit smaller or in width actually when compared to the ZA12. But the Hexa is a bit better on the presentation of the vocals, yes, the mids or and the bass as well. It is noticeably better in thickness on the overall sound when compared to the ZA12. The ZA12 is definitely meant, in my opinion, for critical listening or analytical listening, while the Hexa can do a little bit of both while not accentuating too much on anything else. Okay, so I'll switch to Tagalog for a little bit for a quick rundown of my review for the ZA12. Okay, so bali si ZA12, first things first, neutral bright sounding set siya. So bawal na agad siya sa mga sensitive yung tenga, sa sibilance or sa harshness kasi meron siya. Lalo na may ano siya ang tawag doon, may literal 4 na BA driver. So definitely bawal siya sa mga taong sensitive sa upper frequencies. Tapos ayun, may BA timbre pa siya. So yeah, para lang siya sa mga taong kayang mag-tolerate ng upper frequencies na medyo bright or medyo accentuated tulad ko. But that doesn't mean na parang inferior ganito ganyan. Hindi, depende sa preference mo. Pero yun nga, kung mahina talaga yung tenga mo or ayaw talaga ng tenga mo ng anong tawag doon, ng parang extra na bright sounding set, which I understand, maraming taong ganun kasi maraming taong gusto mag-enjoy lang talaga ng music or mag-sound trip ganito ganyan. Hindi para sa iyo yung ZA12. Ngayon, kung gusto mo ng medyo technical sounding, tapos hindi mo kaya yung fit ng Etymotic, pero okay lang sa iyo yung brightness, sige, maganda yung ZA12, lalo na nasa ano to 3,000-ish pesos. Oo, so yung ER2 SE nasa 5,000 pesos. So ayun, kung gusto mo lang talaga ng technical chops na maganda, isa to sa pwede mong i-consider na bilhin if gusto mo talaga ng KZIM. Pero if willing ka naman na mag-try ng iba and gusto mo na pa rin ng technical performer, EA500 LM yung maire-recommend ko. Para sa akin lang naman. Okay? Tapos ayun pa pala, this exhibits some driver flex dun, lalo na nung ginamit ko tong ear tips na to. So yes, this exhibits some driver flex when especially when paired with the stock ear tips. So yun, magpalit ka ng ear tips. Oo, para sa akin kasi mas okay din yung effect ng tunog ng hindi Starline ear tips dito sa ZA12. Kasi yung ear tips nila dito, para sa akin, medyo pinapataas pa niya and pinaninipis niya lalo yung upper frequencies. So, mas lalong hindi nagiging okay yung tunog para sa akin. Kaya mas okay siya na palitan mo ng ear tips. Probably KB Ear 07. Ayan, wag ka na mag-liquid silicone. Kung may liquid silicone ka, sige. Pero para sa akin, Final E ear tips yung gamitin mo or KB Ear 07 ear tips. Okay na yan. Maganda na yung tunog nun. Yun na yung parang pinaka-epitome ng tunog nun. Kasi kahit pa paano nabawasan yung sibilance, nabawasan yung peaks, nandun pa rin pero mas bawas na siya noticeably and mas nagkaroon ng kapal ng tunog overall. And madali lang naman siya ma-drive. Ayun nga lang, mas okay if i-prepare mo siya sa warmer sounding na dongle. Like for example, SIMGOT U4X or probably yung Sonic Memory SA500 na meron ako dito. Or siguro DD Hi-Fi TC44 Pro Mark 3 or Mountain 3 kung gusto mo ng hindi gaano warm but at the same time nasa neutral-ish pa rin. So, ayun. Ayun lang naman yung ano ko dito. Okay, balik na ako sa English review nito. Okay, para sa verdict. Okay. So, what's my verdict here with the Z812? Well, technically, the Z812 is still a really good contender on its own if you're looking for a technical sounding IEM or an incisive sounding IEM. If you really prefer technical chops over tonality or over anything, the Z812 is definitely still a strong contender. But at the same time, the EA500LM exists here with this price range. So, it is a very tough competition unless, like, for example, if you really prefer a more emphasized treble response, or probably if you prefer the looks of the KZIEM, if you really prefer the fit of a KZIEM, or if you're a fan of KZIEMs, then definitely the Z812 will be the one for you. But if you prefer a bit more of a bang for the buck experience or bang for the buck performance, but at the same time it doesn't exhibit any driver quirks like the Z812, the EA500LM for this price is the better option when if we're talking bright-ish sets, okay, or neutral bright-ish sets. Of course, the Hexa, true tier Hexa exists here as well, but as of now I can't really recommend it because one, the Truth Ear Pure exists around the corner. I'm not sure if I'll be reviewing that one. You may check the some reviewers or most reviewers that are reviewing it here here in the YouTube space by the time that I record this video. And secondly, the Truth Ear IEMs, based on my experience, suffer some lemons or suffer some issues here and there. Like for example, the driver imbalance. I have encountered driver imbalances here and there on some of the sets that I have borrowed, and at the same time I have encountered some dead drivers. I have encountered some faceplates falling apart. So yeah, I can't recommend it personally, but if you want something that is in between tonal and technical chops, and if you don't mind that extra that slightly smaller stage than usual, then the Truth Ear Hexa can be a good consideration for you. Okay, and now that ends my review for the KZZ812. Again, I'd like to thank Keep Hi-Fi for sending this unit to me in an exchange for a very honest and transparent review. Rest assured that all of my reviews are honest and transparent to the core, like I always do, for the benefit of everybody, of course, including me. Since again and again, I won't be editing this extensively, I prefer writing reviews than recording them, and English isn't really my native language. Okay? Okay. Now, as for the backlogs, there are still a lot of backlogs here and there. There are some TWS, like for example the ND Pulsar, which I have been telling you and is still on the works. A Dunu Vulcan 2 review is still on the works as well. The Kiwi Ears Altruvia, yes, the headphones, it arrived here yesterday, and at the same time the Roselsa Photon Pro, which is one of their newest bullet type IEMs, arrived here as well. So it's still a lot, and thank you for stopping by, and see you on the next one. Isa pa? Last one.